sports trending now.
This report presented by TrueCar. With TrueCar, you can find out what other people in your area paid for the same car you're looking for, new or used. Visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Ian Rappaport of NFL Media reports that the Los Angeles Chargers are eyeing an October debut for number 7 overall draft pick Mike Williams. The rookie wideout out of Clemson is out right now with a herniated disc in his back. Atlanta Falcons Pro Bowl running back Devontae Freeman has been placed in concussion protocol and won't play Sunday against the Steelers. Jaguars rookie running back Leonard Fournette won't play Thursday against Tampa Bay due to a sore foot. The complete NBA regular season schedule is being unveiled as we speak. The opening week and Christmas Day schedule was previously revealed last week. And former longtime Arkansas football coach and athletic director Frank Broyles has passed away at the age of 92. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
Your shot at a trip to our iHeart Radio Music Festival now. Text the keyword jackpot to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeart Radio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's jackpot to 200-200.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Columbia. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back at it once again. 316 Greystone Boulevard. Fast-paced, action-packed. Hurry up and no huddle sports talk programming for you. Fox Sports Radio 14 in the Midlands. Let me try that again. Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands. Around the world on the iHeart radio application and live on ClemsonSportsTalk.com where, oh, baby, buckle up, people, a newly revamped premium website launching soon, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. You go there now, you'll see the old stuff. That's great. And we are keeping it updated thanks to Zach Lentz, who will join us in hour number 2 of the program tonight. The show is loaded, though. Loaded. We've got guests galore for you here this evening. We're going to be talking Syracuse. We're going to be talking Virginia Tech. We're going to be talking Vanderbilt. We're going to be talking the Clemson Tigers tonight. 803-978-1832. That's for you. That's how you become a part of the program. 803-978-1832. You can also be a part of the program on Twitter, at Clemson Sports, at CST Show, at Lowell, Lowell, CST. Would love to hear from each and every one of you as we continue to make our way towards college football season. And without further ado, across from me, he is the artist formerly known as Lowell the Intern. We welcome him to the program. Lowell, what's going on, my man?
Bada boom, realest champs in the room. How you doing?
You know, last week you went with the knuckle crack, and it was well done. Today, not so much.
It was a small knuckle crack. I didn't need to go through the whole thing again. Just a little.
A subtle.
A little one.
A subtle. How's the weekend, Lowell?
Not bad. Typical weekend. Not a whole lot going on. Just, a little grinding. Always a little grinding going on. Always got to do that.
Respect that. I absolutely do. And, man, talk about grinding. Lowell lined them up. We've got at 6:20 Adam Sparks from Vanderbilt. He actually works for the Tennessean, but covers the Commodores. We'll talk with Adam. We've got our man Nate Mink from Syracuse, who is on Twitter at MinkNate. That's so hard for me, but we survived last year with Nate. We'll see if we can pull it off again. That's at 6:32. At 7:20, we'll be joined by Andy Bitter. He covers Virginia Tech for the Roanoke Times. And after having my wife, Erica, her family in from England, I almost want to call him Andy Bitter because that's the way they say bitter over there. There's no T in bitter. But Andy Bitter joins us. And then at 7:32, it'll be Zach Lentz. But We'll begin tonight's program talking about the Clemson Tigers having their first scrimmage over the weekend inside Death Valley. And coming out of that, the biggest news, of course, the fact that, and to nobody's surprise, the defense really dominated. The defense dominated. And one of the reasons that I know that you would infer, I would say that the defense dominated is because they were credited with 7 sacks and 14 total tackles for loss. But this is, again, playing simple one-handed tag on the quarterback. So this is not in-game reality bringing the quarterback to the ground. As a matter of fact, the other day you heard Jay Guillermo here on the program talk about the fact that you didn't even get close to the quarterbacks in situations like this. You don't risk taking these guys down at all. And there were all kind of rules for about if the quarterback were rushing the football or if the quarterback were the main ball carrier, if they brought it down and were trying to get through the line of scrimmage versus the outside edge, where containment issues might be a problem for a defense. But again, one-hand tag on the quarterback is what resulted in sacks. So not a true indicator, but again, 7 sacks credited to the defense and 14 tackles for loss for the Clemson Tigers. Dabo Swinney is saying, we played well on both sides of the ball today, but the defense was more consistent. We had a lot of defensive players contributing. That tells me we're going to be a deep team. They did have some penalties and mistakes at the end in goal line situations that we need to correct. Now, I go back to the old moniker that we've said for many, many years just following football in general, whether that be high school, college, or pro. Games are won in the trenches. And our good friend Tom Luganbill the other day was on Sirius XM and said that he felt like not only did Clemson have the best defensive line in America, but that the Clemson Tigers also have the best offensive line in America. And I think, too, much like the conversation we had last week with Jay Guillermo about this Clemson Tiger offensive front, the fact that they are dealing with guys like Christian Wilkins, with guys like Dexter Lawrence and Cleveland Farrell, all of those guys are being dealt with by the offensive line, that will only make it better for them on Saturdays. And I would say you could make the argument that out of all 12 games on Clemson's schedule, there might only be 2 where the defensive line that the Clemson Tigers will face would be on par in terms of the either star quality, or maybe I should say star quantity, or even the performance level of the athletes. And those would probably be back-to-back games in the final 4 games of the season when you go on the road to NC State, and also that matchup against Florida State. Now, I mentioned Cleveland Farrell earlier. He returned to the field after missing a couple of days with being in the concussion protocol and was the top tackler in Saturday's scrimmage. He had 6 tackles total, including 3 tackles for loss, one of which was a one-handed sack. Christian Wilkins had 5 tackles, including 2 tackles for loss early on in the scrimmage. And Austin Bryant, who said the other day that he was feeling as good as he's felt in a long time, had 4 tackles, including 2 sacks on the day, and Big Dexter Lawrence, with 4 tackles on the day. So that Clemson defensive front, again, so dominant. And I think that this is going to continue to be a trend that you're going to hear out of Clemson this entire season, because even if you deny the fact that Clemson's offensive line is going to be a good one, if you see these stats and you go, well, the offensive line, obviously they're Swiss cheesing it up this year, I think you've got to recognize, one, just how good this defensive line is. And that really showed me, or was really shown to me, during Clemson's spring game, when you divided the talent on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, and yet that defensive front was so much better in terms of depth than the offensive line. And I think it is continuing to show that just man for man across the board, the defensive front is not only one of the best in college football, but arguably the best. And no matter how good you think this offensive line is, it's going to struggle. And everybody's going to struggle when you're going up against this Clemson Tiger defensive front. Now, at the linebacker spot, it was Shaq Smith who had 5 stops, including a sack. Love hearing Shaq Smith's name because here's a kid who came out of high school, 5-star athlete. I had him. I thought last year he would have played. If you would have put him and Trey Lamar on the bulletin board and said, Swanee, put a check mark over the guy that's going to play more as a freshman, I would have put Shaq Smith there all day, every day. Smith, red-shirted, worked on his body, really has done a good job of transforming himself to be a more formidable linebacker prospect at the collegiate level, is certain to get more snaps this year. But Trey Lamar was the guy last year that came forward. He's continued to work. He's a heady, smart individual. The coaches trust him. Brent Venables likes what he brings to the table for Clemson. But when you see Shaq Smith working his way up and getting some, not just getting playing time, obviously it's a scrimmage, you expect that, but when he's kind of leading the way in terms of tackles for you, I think that's a positive step for the Clemson Tigers. But again, offensively, you've got to figure out a way to even it out just a little bit for these guys because that defensive front is so good. I got a feeling that every scrimmage, this is going to kind of be the story. Tanner Muse and Mark Fields both had interceptions for the only 2 turnovers of the day, and the offense did not have any fumbles. So there's your boy Tanner Muse getting in on the action, and then Mark Fields, the last Clemson Tiger. Actually, both of those guys were the only 2 Clemson Tiger football players last season with interception returns for touchdowns. Muse and Mark Fields, who did it against Boston College. Lowell, the intern, formerly known as, hanging out with us here. Lowell, any surprises coming out of the scrimmage? I mean, I really thought that just in terms of, and again, this was a closed scrimmage. This was not one where the media was privy to seeing how things played out. This was a scrimmage wherein the coaching staff came out afterwards and really talked about things. But again, no surprises in the fact that this Clemson Tiger defense, and more specifically, the defensive line, was quite dominant. And I don't think that's going to change no matter how far we get into the season. These guys are legitimately top 5, top 3, maybe the top defensive line in the country. And they're going to give everybody fits this year. I think simply if you just had Lawrence and Wilkins, if you had Lawrence and Wilkins and a couple of defensive ends, you'd still be pretty good because one of those 2 guys commands a double team, and that leaves somebody else with man-on-man. And if you're giving Wilkins a one-on-one situation or you're giving Dexter Lawrence a one-on-one situation, 90% of the time those guys are going to win that battle. And then you just add Cleveland Farrell and Austin Bryant to the fold, Lowell. It is a scary starting 4 for Clemson across the front.
And this is why we keep saying it's so hard to judge how good the offense really is when you're going up against a defense like this. Not only because they're talented, but at this point, they know everything you're going to do. They can cheat plays because they know what's coming. It's so hard to run an offense against a defense this good. And I mean, you think back to some of the scrimmages in like the Taj Boyd years. There were years where people were worried about the quarterback play because Taj Boyd would throw like 3 or 4 interceptions in the scrimmage. It's like, are we in trouble at the quarterback position? And obviously that wasn't the case. You just had a talented defense at times. Deshaun Watson struggled some during practices. This is not a new thing. The defense is usually ahead of the offense at this time of the year. This defense is really ahead of the offense, and that's not necessarily a knock on the offense or saying the offense isn't going to be good.
Right.
It's just that the defense is so good, it's hard to judge how good the offense can be. I'll tell you one thing I did like seeing. Travis Etienne going, I think it was 10 carries, 56 yards, and he had a nice touchdown run.
Yeah, 32-yard run.
They put
a score.
A clip of his touchdown run was put on Twitter by the Clemson football account. That dude can fly.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that.
Yeah, Travis Etienne, the freshman running back out of the state of Louisiana, who Clemson got in on late last season, and Dabo Sweeney said something the other day after one of the practices. I believe his quote was, "Man," and either we pronounce Travis's last name wrong or Dabo does, because Dabo's like, that Etienne guy, or I can't remember how he says it, and I'm like, I don't think that's right, Coach, but okay. He said, man, if I could get more guys like that, I'd absolutely take them. The other thing coming out of this scrimmage was the feeling that Zarek Cooper perhaps had the best day in terms of the quarterbacks, and that's a guy whose name we haven't talked about a whole lot because it's kind of been presumed that this was going to be a Kelly Bryant, Hunter Johnson battle.
Well, this is something that we've talked about, the fact that we both thought early on, like right after the season ended, that Zarek Cooper might be the next guy just because of the way he looks. If you're looking for a guy who looks like Deshaun Watson, it's Zarek Cooper. Physically, he looks like him. He's probably faster on the ground than Watson is. He's got a great arm.
Very similar in build and stature to Deshaun Watson.
And Zarek Cooper had kind of fallen by the wayside during the spring. All the talk was about Kelly Bryant and Hunter Johnson. I would not rule out Zarek Cooper just yet.
The freshman T. Higgins with a 38-yard reception as well. And back to something that Lowell said moments ago in terms of the defense being ahead of the offense. I always kind of wonder, too, if that comes down to formation recognition that the defense has. I mean, they kind of know when you're lined up a certain way what plays you tend to run or what routes you tend to run. And that's an advantage that the defense holds after being on the practice field for 6 days is and just being there for years, some of these guys, and watching film. They can sniff out what's happening much faster than an opponent's defense can, even watching film, because as good as watching film is, it's not the same as lining up and recognizing the formations down there on the ground at eye level time and time and time again. And so that would be one of the things, or one of the reasons I think that you can safely assume that this defense is still very much ahead of the offense. John on the line with us tonight wants to talk about the scrimmage. John, welcome in. What's up, bud?
Well, I just want to ease some of the Clemson faithfuls. I guess it never ends when depending on what happens in a scrimmage, who either gets excited or who gets worried. I would have been way more worried if the offense would have went up and down the field personally, but from what I can gather from a couple of my friends that have been up there at practice, that this is the best defense we've had since 1990, and it's definitely the deepest defense we've had. And and the offense is all about reps. Once they get enough reps and build some chemistry together, it may take a couple games into the season, but time will tell. But hopefully it'll be sooner than later. And I'm just really excited about the season. I really believe they still, with all the losses, they have a chance this year, and I'm really excited. That's all I can say. But I wouldn't be worried about the offense. They got some great coaches up there. Tony Elliott, just in my mind, is one of the best young offensive minds in college football, and the sky's the limit. Y'all have a nice day.
John, man, great phone call, good insight there, and I will agree with what John said there, man. It's funny coming out of these things. Some people find the things to be excited about. Some people find the things to be concerned about. It's kind of like the eternal optimists come out and they're like, yeah, man, what a great performance. The eternal pessimists are like, oh, God, our offense is going to be terrible. I don't think you can take any of that really away from this outside of the fact that I think you can still just give the nod to the defensive front for the foreseeable future in terms of how good they're going to be, not just against this Clemson Tiger offense, but also against many other offenses that are on the schedule. Coming up here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight, you know what? We kind of got away from our two-a-days. Lowell was out for a few days. We got to play catch-up, so we got like a three-a-day today here on Clemson Sports Talk. But we'll begin with Adam Sparks talking about the Vanderbilt Commodores. He's from the Tennessean up in the state of Tennessee. We'll talk about the Commodores when we get back. Stay with us.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeart Radio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to win your trip.
The iHeart Radio Music Festival.
Taco Bell's new $1 beefy potato Rito is the perfect comfort food. Crispy potatoes stacked with seasoned beef and melty cheddar cheese. It's all the comfort you need for just $1. Only at Taco Bell.
When summer is sizzling hot, you need something cool to hit the spot. Stop by your local Circle K, where a 69-cent Polar Pop Cup will save the day. The 69-cent any-size Polar Pop Cup, only at Circle K. Take it easy.
It's everything you want in one convenient app. Hi, it's Christopher Thompson. iHeart Radio has your favorite sports talk, your favorite music, your favorite stations, all free. iHeart Radio makes it so we're always with you. You can take Fox Sports Radio 1400 wherever you go and never miss Clay Travis or Rich Eisen or Colin Coward. Plus, if you want variety, you can check out thousands of the best stations from all across the country. It's super easy. Listen at iHeartRadio.com or download the free iHeartRadio app now.
At OPEX Columbia, we aim to inspire, empower, and challenge individuals to reach their highest potential. We take this mission very seriously and sincerely desire to help people achieve the goals they set out for themselves. OPEX Columbia is where you will excel no matter what your goal, whether that be health and wellness, body composition, or being a competitive athlete. We are conveniently located downtown across from the South Carolina Baseball Stadium. Contact us at opexcolumbia.com and mention this ad to receive 10% off your 3-part assessment.
Cottingham Family Dentistry is proud to announce the opening of their new office located at 3722 Devon Street, and they're welcoming new patients. What makes Cottingham Family Dentistry different? It's in the name, family. They will cater to your needs and the dental needs of your children. Cottingham Family Dentistry offers same-day crowns, dental implants, cosmetic dentistry, including whitening, veneers, and tooth-colored fillings, and many other dental services. If you're searching for an amazing dental home, call 776-4234 or stop by their new office at 3722 Devon Street and become a part of the family at Cottingham Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk, your iHeart Radio home for the Clemson Tigers, winners of the 2017 National Championship game.
Like that little J. Cole in the background. Good choice there by the producer extraordinaire, Mr. Lowell, here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. We're joined now on the DNC Trucking and Transport guest line by Adam Sparks from the Tennessee, and he covers the Vanderbilt Commodores. Adam, welcome in, man.
Hey, good to be on.
Man, I'll tell you what, glad to have you on because that means we're getting closer to college football, and, of course, with the Vanderbilt Commodores and their head coach, Derek Mason, looking to improve on a 6-7 season last year, and I cannot help but look at their schedule and think about what they run through from about September the 23rd to, I guess, October the 7th, 3 consecutive weekends, taking on Alabama, on the road at Florida, and Georgia. That is a tough stretch for anybody in the SEC, and I'd venture to guess one of the toughest that anybody will face.
Yeah, it's there's definitely some ebbs and flows to their schedule. You know, even when I look at last year compared to this year, you know, the South Carolina Vanderbilt game was the opener, and so you had 2 fresh teams, you had 2 teams that hadn't quite developed an identity yet, and in this season, by the time that game rolls around October 28th, it's going to be number one, you're going to know the identity of both teams. But number 2, on Vanderbilt's side, yeah, you're going to go through a gauntlet where they may still be looking for their first SEC win. Vanderbilt certainly hopes that's not the case, but they've got some non-conference games early on they could possibly win at Middle Tennessee, Alabama A&M. They'll be favored in both of those. But as you mentioned, Alabama at Florida, Georgia, that's their first 3 SEC games. There'll be an underdog, obviously, in all 3 of those. And even before that, before the Alabama game, they play Kansas State, that's ranked number 19 in the country.
Sure.
So by the time you get to the South Carolina game, you could see a Commodores team that could be battered, but also probably pretty hungry to get an SEC win.
Well, they do catch the Gamecocks a week after having their bye, so they get that, I guess, a little bit of an advantage for them there in terms of resting and healing up. But when you look at Coach Derek Mason, I really do like him. I like his fire. I like his passion. But this seems to me like he's beginning to get to that point. Now, I think it's partially because of the success that Coach Franklin had before him, where if this is one of those down years, if this is one of those 3-4 win seasons, I mean, the burner's going to be on full blast for him. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I would say that if he had not gotten a contract extension, I think that takes that off the table. When they, in between the regular season finale last year to the bowl game this year, they gave him a 3-year extension, so he's back to his original terms, 5 years with an option of a 6th. Vanderbilt was pretty happy with what happened in the second half of last season. Now, middle of the season, even Derek Mason told me, and he said it publicly, that he was afraid he could possibly lose his job last year when they started 2-4 in the first 6 games.
Sure.
They finished 4-2 in the last 6 games. Beat Georgia, beat Ole Miss, beat Tennessee, and that really kind of turned around the trajectory of the program under Mason. They're trying to figure out now how to kind of build on that and not regress back into those 4-8 type seasons.
Well, no, that's a great point. And of course, when you look at the quarterback situation with Kyle Shermer there, his father, of course, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings in the NFL, and how valuable, in your opinion, as a sports writer, Adam, is having a kid at quarterback whose father, not only knows the ins and outs of the game, but you can make the argument has probably raised his son and taught his son the ins and outs of the game since he was in diapers.
Yeah, I remember Kyle telling the story when he used to play catch with, I think it was Donovan McNabb, when he was like in middle school or something. I think just the presence of those caliber of players and quarterbacks around him helps him quite a bit. I know his dad, Pat Shermer, lends some advice here and there about different things. But, when I've talked to Kyle about that, he says, sometimes my dad will tell me some fundamental things like, I'm not moving my feet quick enough. My arm angle isn't quite right, that sort of things. But he said he really gets yelled at mostly by his mom. Kyle Shermer's mom was a record-breaking swimmer at Michigan State.
Yeah.
And she's kind of the fiery, competitive one, where his dad, Pat Shermer, is more of the quiet, analytical guy. So it's an interesting mix between the two. You can see both of those sides of those personality come out in Kyle during games.
Follow Adam Sparks on Twitter, at Adam Sparks. And, Adam, when I think through, this season for the Vanderbilt Commodores and their fan base, I think there is a common misconception out there amongst college football people, and I think it has something to do with maybe how passionate other fan bases in the SEC might be about their programs. But Vanderbilt Commodore fans, if you're there in Nashville, I mean, they really do step it up and they get into it. What's the vibe right now as we build towards the college football season?
I'd say cautious optimism. Last year the way that went, and people have to understand, everybody has a rivalry in this conference, and sometimes one win can mean 3 or 4 wins if you beat the right team. It can feel that way. And the regular season finale, beating Tennessee, felt like 3 or 4 wins to this team. It certainly felt like that to Derek Mason. I'm sure some listeners probably saw the clip from that game, Derek Mason dancing on the sideline. You could tell a big weight was lifted off his shoulders, and that's the last time that most of these fans saw Vanderbilt play live. They played in the Independence Bowl, but it was right after Christmas and in Shreveport. Not many of them went down to see that game, so the lasting images of that game and before that Ole Miss, and the fact that the last 3 or 4 games they put up a lot of points and a lot of yards, I think there's some optimism from that. This team had struggled offensively. It struggled offensively in Derek Mason's tenure. That was the first kind of light at the end of the tunnel that people saw late last season. They're very hopeful that carries over into this year, because if Vandy can move the ball and score on offense, they're a team that can win SEC games. If not, then it's going to be pretty tough.
the road opener at Middle Tennessee. I know they've played Middle Tennessee, I think, 2 seasons prior to this. So is this like a 4-game home-and-home series that they've got going on? And, 6 straight true road openers they've lost. I mean, that's interesting for them to start on the road at Middle Tennessee, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and overall, it's, I think, 5 straight openers, home or away, that they've lost. They've played Middle Tennessee the last couple of years. So this would be the 3rd in a row. This would be in Murfreesboro. It's a pretty big game for both schools, but more so for Middle Tennessee. I covered Middle Tennessee for 10 years before I covered Vanderbilt, and this is the one that's circled on the calendar down there. This is the one where you want to knock off the SEC team in your backyard. It'll be a pretty competitive game. It'll be 2 completely different styles in that Middle Tennessee is a up-tempo, throw the ball, try to beat you to 40 type of team, where Vanderbilt is more of the power running, ball control, clock control, beat you with defense type of game. So whatever way the tempo goes is probably who's going to win this game, and that's what it was last year. Vanderbilt simply got some turnovers early on, and Middle Tennessee never really found an offensive rhythm. So it's a big game. Vanderbilt, I think, feels pretty confident going into it, but yeah, it's one that Vandy has to have. If you count up the opportunities to get 6 wins to get bowl eligible, like last year, usually at Vanderbilt it's a small margin of error, and they're going to need that one to be in contention for a bowl come November, I think.
Well, Adam, again, man, we appreciate your time. Follow Adam on Twitter at Adam Sparks. He covers the Vanderbilt Commodores for the Tennessean. We'll talk to you again probably the week of the Carolina-Vandy game. Appreciate it, man.
All right, good deal. Have a good one.
There he is, Adam Sparks. We'll be back here on Clemson Sports Talk. We'll shift gears from Vanderbilt to Syracuse. Nate Mink on Twitter at MinkNate when we get right back.
Looking to get away without having to spend a whole day traveling to your destination? Ocean Reef Resort offers 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom accommodations with the comforts of home and boasts the best oceanfront views. Swim in their sparkling indoor and outdoor pools, relax in their hot tubs, try out the Adventure Oasis pool with adult-sized water slide, or just float down the 250-foot lazy river. Visit us at oceanreefmyrtlebeach.com or call us at 1-866-935-0530 to learn more.
You've done the research, Jonathan, and decided on a Honda.
And you waited for just the right time to buy, Gary, and now it's here.
The Honda Summerbration Sales Event
at Honda of Columbia.
We're clearing out every 2017 Honda in stock at the lowest prices of the entire year and giving you a hassle-free buying experience.
Don't wait. The Honda Summerbration Sales Event is the time to buy at Honda of Columbia, your friendly family Honda dealer since 1978.
Highway 378 at I-20 and HondaofColumbia.com.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Stars and Stripes Sports is a leader in the sports athlete development market, offering innovative health, fitness, training, and player development solutions for players and coaches of all levels of youth sports. Stars and Stripes Sports is looking to add at least 2 people per state to start their own business for sports testing and to market these events locally. We want people to start their programs in early 2017, starting with spring training. Many high-quality athletes fail to reach their potential. Call Chris today, 704-737-9970, or email Chris Carlson at starsandstripesports.com.
The thunderstorms out there this evening will die off overnight. The temperatures will drop to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny and plenty hot, highs mid-90s, but with the humidity, it'll feel north of 100 degrees. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia is getting you ready for the big eclipse. Test drive today and receive a free pair of Eclipse glasses. Plus, get out of this world deals on hundreds of new Toyotas. The eclipse is coming. Get ready for it today at Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
Clemson Sports Talk, the show that shakes the Southland, weeknights, Fox Sports Radio, iHeart Radio, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, and podcasted. Joining us now, he was here with us last year. I think last year was his inaugural year joining us, maybe 2 years ago. I can't keep up with my man, Nate Mink, but he joins us tonight to talk about the Syracuse Orange. He's at Mink Nate on Twitter. Nate, what's up, man?
How you guys doing tonight?
Brother, I'm telling you, we just had Adam Sparks on who covers Vanderbilt. Now we're talking to you, and I'm jacked up because it's college football season.
I hear you. It's like the private school hour.
Man, well, we're doing what we can. We got to cover everybody on this schedule, so we're diving right into it, and we're getting towards the back end of things. And the Syracuse Orange and the Clemson Tigers, October 13th. The Tigers, of course, last season really manhandling Syracuse to the tune of 54-0. I know that's a tough one for anybody, and Coach Dino Babers, who's one of my favorite coaches in the league, it sure looks like to me is going to have to shore things up defensively if this is going to be a team that finds a way to make it into a bowl this year.
Absolutely. I mean, they were, without question, embarrassed by last season. You got to remember Dino, in his 4 previous seasons as a head coach, won at least a share of a division championship in each of those 4 seasons. Going back to Eastern Illinois at the FCS level and Bowling Green in the Mid-American Conference. So for him to have his first losing season in 5 years as a coach and to go 4-8 and have some pretty ugly deficits, margin of deficit there,
sure.
It was embarrassing for him. There's no question about it. And defensively, they absolutely addressed that side of the ball in this offseason. They turned that roster over probably about as much as you reasonably can expect in one season. They brought in a couple graduate transfers in the secondary in cornerback Evan Butler, who came over from Notre Dame, and Jordan Martin, who was a really good player at Toledo in the Mid-American Conference. And then they shored up their linebacking unit with another graduate transfer in Austin Valdez, who was 120, 130 tackle guy for Bowling Green in the MAC a couple years back. When he played for Dino and in that defensive system, and then they brought in a JUCO linebacker named Ryan Guthrie who can help with the depth there as well. So, they really made an effort to revamp their defensive personnel, particularly in the back 7, because, guys, as you know, looking at that depth chart, the defensive line looks like another trouble spot for them this year. So I think the thinking goes if they can kind of just take a little bit of pressure off that front 4 and having to create pressure on the quarterback, if they bolster their secondary and their linebacker core to the point where they can kind of hold the fort down, they hope that will aid their cause defensively this year. But there's no doubt it has to be better. I think they gave up, close to 40 points a game, well over 6.5 yards.
Nate, let me ask you, from the perspective of the people in Syracuse and from the beat writers such as yourself who are covering the Orange, was the defensive issues maybe more about the fact that you took on a Louisville that had a Lamar Jackson, you took on a Clemson team that had a Deshaun Watson? I mean, is that where these issues were more so, or was it just a severe deficiency?
Like always, the answer is a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kid you. I mean, there's no doubt. Syracuse is playing in more or less the golden era of the ACC right now, where you have kind of these transcendent players.
It's a valid point.
A Deshaun Watson and the Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson. So to dismiss that their talent is not playing a factor in Syracuse's or any league team's defensive struggles would just not be fair to those exceptional players. Now that said, when Dino and his staff came in here, they opted to run a Tampa 2 defense, and the defensive system that they were running previously under the former head coach Scott Schaefer was more of an attacking blitz style. So those obviously kind of are more or less opposites of one another. So you had personnel for one system trying to play a defensive system meant for personnel on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and you had a natural growing pains and learning curve that just needed to kind of work itself out. So I think when you take that into account, along with the exceptional offenses that they played last year, and it wasn't just Lamar and Deshaun. I mean, they played Deshaun Kaiser in Notre Dame. They played Quentin Flowers in South Florida. They played Nate Peterman and Pitt. I mean, those are all really, really good quarterbacks. I mean, half their schedule was against exceptional quarterbacks. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of just the nature of the beast. And then when you introduced a new system, it obviously made for some difficulties, no doubt about it.
3 straight home games to open up the season for the Orange before venturing down to the Bayou to take on LSU in a rematch of a game that they played. What was that? Was that 2 years ago that they took on LSU? Yeah, 2 years ago.
It was, yeah.
And this is, I guess, that payback game for the Cuse. They'll go on the road to that one. That's an environment as a fan of college football, selfishly, that I wish Clemson would line up. I'd love to play there. Your thoughts on getting that opportunity to go to the Bayou to take on LSU?
I think it's going to be extraordinary. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I know some Syracuse fans are kind of have mixed feelings about it because, like any fan of college football, they enjoy kind of the uniqueness that different venues provide. But on the same token, it's kind of a murderer's row when you look at that Syracuse schedule this year. So,
yeah,
maybe they would have liked to go to LSU in a year where they don't already have, I guess they have Clemson and Florida State and Louisville every year, but their crossover game is Miami. They get NC State on the road in a year where NC State is loaded up front on that defensive line. One of their other out-of-conference games, Mid-Tennessee State, probably has an NFL quarterback in Brent Stockstill and is a popular pick to win Conference USA. So, they could do without the trip to LSU this year, but there's no doubt that that's going to, really, as if they weren't already well aware of what they're facing this year. That game in particular is going to set them up for what is going to be a week in and week out gauntlet in the ACC.
Nate, one final question. We got about a minute. I want to talk to you about Coach Babers because I had a chance to kind of see him at the ACC kickoff and spend a little time around him. But just from somebody who's on the ground with him, is this a guy, in your opinion, that's definitely going to find a way to win there at Syracuse?
If he can't,
I mean, I think he can. I like him. I
don't know where the school turns to next, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because they tried the hard defensive, conservative approach, and now you're going to complete 180 with Dino, and it's set up. The system is really set up to excel in a controlled climate environment. That if he can just find a way to recruit to the Northeast and get the right players that fit his system in there, they can be a real nuisance. For a lot of teams in the Atlantic Division and the ACC, not necessarily maybe the top of that conference just yet, but there's a lot of parity and mediocrity in the middle of the league right now.
Nate Mink on Twitter at MinkNate. Nate, man, always appreciate your insight. Good luck to you guys with the Syracuse Orange this season, and we look forward to talking to you again the week of the Clemson-Syracuse game, man. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
There he is, man. Love that guy, right? You hear the juice on that? I mean, he's dropping Middle Tennessee's quarterback. Did he say Stockstill? Is that Rick Stockstill's son? Oh, do work, Rick. I didn't recognize that. Oh, yeah, my man Rick Stockstill. All right, we're back after this.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeart Radio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to win your trip.
Capital One is the proud marquee partner of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. So cardholders, make sure to have your Capital One card with you at the Daytime Village presented by Capital One to unlock exclusive opportunities. See you in Vegas.
At Columbia Metropolitan Airport, easy is getting wherever you need to be with the convenience of leaving right from your hometown. So next time you need to get to Chicago or anywhere else in the world, check us first and fly with ease at CAE.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Attention, anyone who's suffering from lower back pain. Right now, HealthSource is offering our listeners an absolutely free back pain consultation on a first-come, first-served basis by calling 803-218-9047. Our doctors can find the root cause of your lower back pain and show you how to get well fast and stay well longer. No more pain. No more feeling worn out. Essentially, no more not feeling like yourself. Call 803-218-9047.
ColumbiaHelpWanted.com salutes the Employee of the Month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Hey, Dave, you missed yesterday's meeting. You said you'd be there.
True, Mr. Employee of the Month, but yesterday was opposite day, so when I said I was going, I actually meant I wasn't.
Wait, opposite day? So everything you said yesterday had the opposite meaning?
Right.
So, wait, when you told me you didn't have pink eye...
I actually have a raging case of it.
And when you said you finished the Q3 reports...
Haven't even started them.
Oh, well then, that must mean that when you were asking for a raise, you were really asking for a pay cut.
Touché, Mr. Employee of the Month. Touché.
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. But if you want Employees of the Month, go where smart local job seekers find good local jobs. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
We don't discriminate against people named Dave. Dave is a common name, fun to say, and so we're using it as a catch-all for lackluster employees everywhere. Please don't write us to tell us you were insulted by this ad. That would be a real Dave move, Dave.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
A record of the delightful piece they're going to play this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, 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 your attention, please. Your attention, please. Attention, please.
And now the moment we've been waiting for is here.
Shaking the Southland weeknights, Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, the artist formerly known as Lowell the Intern, in the building. 803-978-1832. Love those two segments right there, and we've got more coming up for you on our 2-a-day, 3-a-day, 4-a-day, 5-a-day if we need it. Andy Bitter from the Roanoke Times joins us in hour number 2 to talk about Virginia Tech. Also, Zach Lentz will talk with us about Clemson's scrimmage over the weekend. Lowell, a couple of things there. He said Brent Stockstill, and I thought, dang, I was like, Rick's son is a quarterback? I had no idea. And you looked at me like I had I was growing a horn out of the middle of my forehead or something. And then you tell me how or why you knew that. Because I got to admit, I don't exactly research, and maybe this is my weakness as a host. I'm sure there's some other great hosts out there right now that research every team in college football, but I don't exactly go through the rosters of the Middle Tennessees of the world. I apologize for that. I'll try to step my game up next year. I'm a little busy. I'm a little busy doing what I call expanding the brand. I'm trying to be like Jeff Bezos. Okay? I'm not going to – you think Jeff Bezos is sitting around reading about Middle Tennessee State?
When are we buying Whole Foods? When's that happening?
Well, I had an offer out there, but Bezos beat me to it. From what I hear, though, maybe this Lowe's food store is the place I need to buy now. Maybe I'll buy that. And then I'll buy the hardware place named Lowe's. I'm going to own both places named Lowe's, and I'm going to rename them Lowell's. Just slightly different. How you like that?
I like that.
Yeah. So you say
as
to
long
me,
as it's not subpar.
No, are you kidding me? Apparently, you can drink wine while you're shopping at this Lowe's food store place, from what I understand. I mean, I don't know about you, but that seems like it would definitely make being in the checkout line more enjoyable. Lowell, I do have to ask you, though. You looked at me when I said that like, are you crazy, Swan? Of course it's Rick Stockstill's son. And then the truth comes out during the break.
Well, it wasn't the whole truth because I did know this. I can't remember why I knew that he was there.
I can tell you why you knew it.
No, it's not the sole reason, but a big reason is I do play college fantasy football.
And go on. He's apparently a guy that's listed at the top quite a bit.
He's usually pretty good. I think he averaged like 30-something points a game last year, and so he was somebody I considered. Middle Tennessee does run an air raid offense, so he will throw a lot.
Man to man, can I ask you a question? This is just between
sure.
us. If your fantasy football roster looked like Jake Bentley was going to help you win this week, would you play Jake Bentley over any quarterback at Clemson if you had your choice?
Depends on the matchup.
So you would unequivocally play Jake Bentley above every Clemson player if you thought he would win your fantasy game.
Again, it depends on the matchups. Who's Clemson playing that week? Who's South Carolina playing? If South Carolina's playing Western Carolina, I'll probably throw Jake Bentley out there because he's good for probably 4 touchdowns.
Have you ever heard of this game, Would You Rather?
I have.
Okay, so my son and daughter and my son's friend Grice we took him to see Nut Job 2 this weekend at the movie theater. So we're driving to the theater, and of course the kids break into a game of Would You Rather. Now, back in the day, I think we played Truth or Dare or whatever. We didn't play Would You Rather. That didn't exist when I was a kid. So that's a new thing. So it's like, would you rather eat a plate of roaches or a plate of crickets? I mean, it's just like random stuff. And so Grice throws this question out to me, and talking this fantasy football with you got me thinking of it. So I'll pose the question to you, Lowell. Would you rather be the worst player on Clemson or the best player on South Carolina? That's the question that comes from the back of my car. And of course, I'm driving, and I'm like, dang, that's the greatest would you rather question I've ever heard. Would you rather be the worst player at Clemson or the best player at South Carolina?
Well, this is sort of like our would you rather win a championship or be a loser and have millions of dollars question.
It was, well, when he said, I thought Grice must listen to the show. This sounds like he's been listening to us. That's the exact question I thought of. When he said that, I thought, man, this is a lot like our topic. I said, I'm going to ask Lowell when I get in there tomorrow. Would you rather be the worst player at Clemson or the best player at South Carolina?
Is being the best player at South Carolina going to lead me to have a successful NFL career? That would be the question I would
don't
have.
know. You might break your arm and can't play anymore or something. You might have a car accident and lose your foot. But just in general, see, I think it's funny that I knew you would struggle with this. Because you're the guy after 4 games have been played in the NCAA tournament. If you're 4-0, you're texting me going, I'm going undefeated, Swanee.
Oh, look, I'm competitive. I've never had a problem saying that or admitting that. I'm a competitive person.
I think this is the year that I get every game right in the bracket challenge.
Now, here's where I would be frustrated if I was the best player at South Carolina and we were going 0-12 every year. I don't know if I could handle that. So this is where the many scenarios show up.
This is the crux of the matter.
Right. If I'm the best player at South Carolina and we're not winning games, I'm not going to be happy.
But if you're the worst player at Clemson and you won the Natty, you're good to go.
As long as I'm getting some playing time, yeah, I might be good to go.
What if you weren't getting played? You're the worst. Do you think the worst player played in the national championship this year? There is a worst player on Clemson's team. You do recognize that.
I do.
I can't believe this decision is this hard for you. Tweet at me at Clemson Sports. If you want to, all you got to do is say best. That means you would like to be the best player at South Carolina. Worst means you want to be the worst player at Clemson.
Yeah, here's the big thing about fantasy football.
What? I was changing subjects.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's sort of still on subject. You can't have an allegiance in fantasy football.
Okay.
Your only allegiance is to the player that you have picked for your lineup, and you are pulling for them to do well. And if I have put Jake Bentley into the game, I am pulling for him to throw for 8 touchdowns against whoever they're playing.
I'm going to put the poll question out on Twitter. And let me tell you what it's going to be, Lowell. And this is how I know you're a front runner kind of guy. 85% of the people that I poll.
Oh, sure. They'll say they'd rather be the worst player at Clemson. Now, considering how successful Clemson is right now, I might pick that because I want a ring. I want to win rings. If I'm the best player at South Carolina and we're not winning games, that's frustrating. You ever been the best player on the pickup court and you keep losing games and you keep having to sit down? That's annoying.
All right, hour number 2 when we get back.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan, with quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon? Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
From the E.F. Martin Heating and Air Studios, this is Fox Sports Radio 1400. WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app.
Fox Sports Trending now.
This report presented by TrueCar. With TrueCar, you can find out what other people in your area paid for the same car you're looking for, new or used. Visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. The complete NBA regular season schedule was unveiled last hour, headlined by reunions. Paul George of the Thunder returns to Indiana December 13th. Chris Paul of the Rockets will visit the Clippers for the first time January 15th, while Gordon Hayward of the Celtics returns to Utah for the first time March 28th. The Golden State Warriors have a league-leading 31 nationally televised games, followed by the Rockets, Cavs, Thunder, Celtics, Spurs, and the Lakers, who have 23. And the toxicology report from Tiger Woods' DUI arrest in May was released today and revealed that he had 5 different drugs in his system: Vicodin, Xanax, Ambien, Dilaudid, and THC. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's prime time right here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. BG in the Low Country says, I'd rather be the water boy at Clemson than the best player at South Carolina. Again, you can reverse that. I mean, I know that Gamecocks who see it on Twitter will be like, oh, look at that guy. What's he asking? Reverse it. I mean, if you're a South Carolina fan, would you rather be the worst player at South Carolina or the best player at Clemson?
And here's what we should have done with that question.
Okay, tell me. Oh, keeper of the topics.
I don't know what that means. But anyways, it might be hard for some people, but you should say, assuming you did not grow up a Clemson or South Carolina fan. You've got to take the bias out of the question if you want a good answer, because obviously the Clemson people are going to say they'd rather be the worst player at Clemson. The South Carolina people are going to say they'd rather be the best player at South Carolina. What I'm trying to do with my answer is say let's assume I'm just looking at the programs. I have no affiliation with either of them, and I'm going, do I want to come here and be the best player?
But is that how a would you rather is supposed to work when a 7-year-old asks the question?
It should. You got to teach them young.
I thought he asked a very compelling question to a Clemson person. Because the onus puts you in, would you rather be the worst in this scenario or the best in this scenario?
Here's my problem.
It's not really a great would you rather if you take the...
Okay, fine. We'll leave it in. Here's my problem answering this question, and it was what I just said before the break. I know you can relate to the analogy that I threw out there right before we hit the break, which was you're on a basketball court, you're the best player on your team, you may go out there and score, you're playing to 20, you may go out there and score 15 points, but you can't win a game because nobody else on your team is any good. Do I want to be that, or do I want to go here and win games and maybe not necessarily get the spotlight? That's tough. That's hard because I like to win. I'm a winner, Swanee. I don't know if you knew that about me.
It hadn't shown in all the years I've known you. But...
I'm a winner.
Okay.
I win so much I'm getting sick of it. so it is a hard question, but I want to win. So I'm going to go with the path that's going to let me win the most.
Craig chimes in. He says, is there going to be a Clemson Sports Talk Prime? What does that mean?
We have premium. I think that counts.
Well, we don't have anything yet. We're working on that. That's coming soon. If you didn't see the video yet, though, I would encourage you to please go check it out on Twitter or on Facebook and retweet it or share it over on Facebook with your friends. 803-978-1832. Ric Flair apparently out of surgery and doing okay according to his manager. There were some concerns earlier about Ric Flair's health. Today, a little bit of a health scare for the legendary 15-time, I believe, heavyweight champion of the world. His manager confirms he had successful surgery and asked for continued prayers. So, thoughts going up to Ric Flair, the best I ever saw do it. I'm going to tell you what. And to think back to his career and the fact that, you know, he had a plane crash at one point that he survived, and then to come back and to be the flamboyant star that he was, the leader of the Four Horsemen, to ultimately make his way across the aisle, so to speak, to the WWF at the time, and then back to WCW, and just be the transcendent wrestler that he was. Absolutely hoping that things go well the rest of the way for Ric Flair as he continues to maneuver through this tough situation that he is in. Speaking of guys in a tough situation, the Chargers wideout Mike Williams, the former Clemson Tiger star, apparently now eyeing a October debut. So, again, this is a situation that Williams has taken a little bit of heat from in terms of did he hide his injury. But he's recovering from a herniated disc in his back that happened in the spring. According to reports, he's been sprinting on a treadmill, and he's been on the practice fields, making solid progress, using rest and rehab rather than a surgical option to get Mike Williams back on the field. We'll see how this goes for him. No decision has been made on whether he'll start the season on the PUP list or not. They say it's possible, but he also might not because he could play in a game sooner than week 7. So this is the never-ending saga in the NFL right now in terms of rookies. Will he be on the PUP list? Won't he be on the PUP list? Will he have to have surgery? Won't he have to have surgery? Did he hide the injuries? Did he not hide the injury? So on and so forth in terms of Clemson's former wideout Mike Williams, again, with the Los Angeles Chargers. And don't forget, here on the program Friday, the news broke just before the show that Sammy Watkins had been traded to the Los Angeles Rams. So a couple of former Clemson Tiger wideouts now sharing one of the largest markets in all of America out in Los Angeles. Oh, no. Yes. Hold on. O-line, double O. Overton's orange on the line. Double O, what's up, man?
What is happening, my brothers?
We're good, man. How are you?
Great. I'm doing real good. I just wanted to say that there is no question in my mind. I would rather be fourth string on Clemson's national championship team than the greatest player ever at South Carolina University. Law's all about the money, root of all evil, all about that money. But I want to change to the subject to Mr. Deshaun Watson. Saw on the news today that he is not first string. I cannot believe that after watching Texas and Carolina Panthers, him going 15 for 25, one rushing touchdown, at least 20 yards he ran for a touchdown. There's no comparison. That guy that started that game, he looked terrible. I know that
Tom Savage.
Yeah, Savage. He looked terrible. He looked slow. He couldn't throw the ball. He looked pathetic to me. Bottom line, DW will be first string. After all is said and done, DW will be first string. I think DW will be at least as good as Cam Newton.
Wow.
I think he probably has a shot of being better than Cam Newton. Only time will tell, but I know he shined when I saw him on TV. He looked calm. He looked confident. He looked like he's had a year or two experience in the NFL. That's how good he looked to me.
Appreciate it, Double O, man. Great call there. Yeah, I'll go back and we can talk about that game again from what we saw in Charlotte last week from Deshaun Watson. Just so much poise, man. He is as cool as any player that I've ever seen. And I know this is a preseason game, but there is a confidence that he has, and it is not an arrogance. It is a confidence that Deshaun Watson has in how he carries himself, I think, both on and off the field. And when Clemson, I think you could almost argue, and feel free to disagree with me here. I don't know that there's an angle you could disagree with me. I don't give out a lot of topics and a lot of conversational points that you shouldn't be able to find some way to disagree with me, but this is one. Could anybody argue that he plays his best in the most crucial times in games? I mean, you know, like Michael Jordan was, and the perception of Michael Jordan was created because in the crunch time or in the clutch or whatever you want to call it. Well, I guess they were clutch in the crunch time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Would you not say the same thing about Deshaun Watson? When was Watson at his worst? When did Watson perform at his worst? I think the argument could easily be made and should be made that he performed at his worst in games and in moments when things weren't all that important, so to speak. Down against Louisville, down against Florida State, down 14 against Alabama, down 7 or down whatever it was, 3 and needing a touchdown drive. Deshaun Watson played his best when the pressure was on. As a matter of fact, if you had to think back, Lowell, right off the top of your head, and Tiger Nation, hit me up via the Ocean Reef Resort text line, 803-450-0086, or call me. Tell me one game where Watson was at his worst in a big moment. The only one I can come up with, and I struggled to even put it on Deshaun Watson, was the interception against Pitt when Clemson was down at the goal line, and with a field goal, I can't remember what the circumstances were, but a field goal there would have put Clemson up 10, I think. And Watson throws that interception. Now, maybe he checked into that play. I can't remember going back to that game if that was a call from the coaching staff or Watson. But other than that, I can't think of another moment where at any point in his career when things were going against him where he didn't rise up to the challenge. And you can go all the way back to the Georgia game his freshman year. He comes into that game, laser-like focus, delivering. I don't know that he ever once let me down as a fan of college football and as a Clemson graduate at any moment in any game. when Clemson needed something. I don't know that it ever happened. Like I don't remember once walking out of a stadium. Now, he won a lot of games, so maybe that's a part of it too. But I rarely walked out of the stadium, leaving the press box, and went, well, golly, we won despite Deshaun Watson today. Well, he was just bad. I can remember, Taj Boyd, if you're listening, close your ears and hum. You're not going to want to hear this. I can remember being in the press box during the Clemson-Georgia football game. What was that, Lowell? 2013, Clemson, Georgia, the season opener, under the lights, Death Valley. Taj, again, if you're listening, cover your ears. I can remember standing in the press box and saying to a fellow sports talk show host, the first time Taj Boyd looks at the second man in his progressions, I said, the next time Taj Boyd looks at the second man in his progressions will be the first time he's done that tonight. As great as Taj was that night, he was locked in, man. He was not moving through, especially early on. This was halftime. But I can't recall one time anybody in the press box, outside of the game, on this show, ever going, Swanee, they won. But, man, if Deshaun Watson doesn't step it up, they're in trouble. This team's really going to struggle. I think that might be all you need to know about what kind of player he was. Do you ever recall, Lowell, a moment in the game where the heat was on and the pressure was on the line that Watson didn't deliver, whether it be a drive? Okay, I'll give you one. I got one, Lowell. National championship game. Clemson gets the ball back. Now, the heat wasn't on, but Clemson could have gone up more. This was before Alabama's touchdown drive late. Clemson has the ball, and I don't even know if those are really on Watson. It's the one where Leggett breaks off the route. Remember, you have the little 3 plays in a punt before Alabama gets the ball back and scores, and then Clemson gets the ball back and score. Maybe there. But we're talking about going up against Alabama in the national championship game, and you're up. It wasn't like this was happening and you were down. When you got the ball back and you were down, what did he do? This is in honor of Lee Corso. Right down the field, right? Put 6 on it. 7 with the extra. You got a moment, Lowell, where Deshaun Watson let you down in a big moment? I can't think of one. Not a one.
Well, like you said, there weren't many losses.
No, there weren't many losses. David D, by the way, loves the way 00 says Cam Newton. He likes that.
He was not at his best in that NC State game. But then again, you survive, it goes to overtime. You get a quick touchdown, and then you win the game. So it's hard to say that, he let you down. He wasn't in his best during that Troy game.
But even if you go back to that Troy game, who is that 6-point win really on? More than anybody else in that stadium. Ray McLeod. Do you know the momentum that sucked out of the stadium? Because at that point in the season, you had just gotten by Auburn. And people were kind of like, well, is this going to be another great season or not? And you put the ball down and you can't get out of your own way. And people are like, oh, boy, what is going on? Like, that's the moment people are like, oh, my, what's going on with this team? But I mean, the kid was incredible.
Well, and it kind of speaks to your point where we mentioned the NC State game. We mentioned the Troy game. The games where he did not look good were games where he necessarily wasn't locked in. You're playing Troy. You're playing Troy. When the lights are on and it's the national championship game, he's going to dice Alabama's defense up for 500
all
yards.
night long. Yeah, when the focus didn't have to be there, maybe he wasn't at his best. But even those games, I never walked out of the stadium going, golly, I wish Coach would somebody put Dr. Seuss in for a little bit and just get Deshaun's head right. Believe me, those conversations were had about other quarterbacks during my time watching the Clemson Tigers. But when the pressure was on, when the moment was the biggest, when you're down 8, when you need a drive, when you got to score the game winner. And the other thing was, you fans, not only did you take it for granted, you were in the stands going, just give the ball to Deshaun with time on the clock. Well, let's see what he can do with it. Heck, everybody was thinking that a year ago in the national championship they lost. Man, we just get the ball one more time when Clemson had that onside kick. We're coming back here on the show that shakes the Southland to talk about Virginia Tech. Stay with us.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to Win Your Trip.
Vegas!
Introducing new M&M's brand caramel candies. Or is it caramel? No matter how you say it, they're delicious. Unsquare caramel or caramel with new M&M's brand caramel candies today.
Pit Stop convenience stores and Coca-Cola are partnering to give you free Eclipse watching glasses, and they're available right now at every Pit Stop. Just buy any Coca-Cola product, get a pair of Eclipse glasses free. Limit 1 per customer while supplies last. Don't stop till you're at Pit Stop.
Looking to get away without having to spend a whole day traveling to your destination? Ocean Reef Resort offers 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom accommodations with the comforts of home and boasts the best oceanfront views. Swim in their sparkling indoor and outdoor pools, relax in their hot tubs, try out the Adventure Oasis pool with adult-sized water slide, or just float down the 250-foot lazy river. Visit us at oceanreefmyrtlebeach.com or call us at 1-866-935-0530 to learn more.
Does your water have a bad taste and odor, high content of chlorinating chemicals, and hardness? Then call the plumbing pros at Metz Plumbing for a free water analysis. Metz Plumbing is the exclusive dealer for Connecticut Water Systems, the best drinking water system in the world.
732-DRIP.
Warm weather means fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes, which can endanger your pets. Fleas and ticks can cause life-threatening disease, and mosquitoes transmit heartworms. There are some new, exciting, innovative treatments for the prevention of these parasites. Protect your pet. Consult your local authority, your neighborhood veterinarian. Brought to you by Midlands Veterinary Practice, where we care for the most valuable pets. Yours. Visit us at midlandsvet.com on Facebook or Twitter. Call us at 750-7387, 750-PETS.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to Win Your Trip.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
Weeknights, 6 to 8 p.m., Fox Sports Radio, iHeart Radio, Periscope. No, podcast, excuse me. We used to Periscope. We're live on ClemsonSportsTalk.com now, but we also podcast every edition of the show. Tonight, we've given you an inside look at Vanderbilt for all you Gamecock fans peeking over the fence. We gave you the inside look at Syracuse for all you Clemson Tiger fans, and now we peek ahead. Clemson's matchup September 30th, the final of 5 games in September for Clemson. It'll be on the road at Virginia Tech, taking on Justin Fuente's Hokies. It still doesn't seem quite right without Coach Beamer there, but Justin Fuente, in his first year up in Blacksburg, takes the Hokies to the ACC Championship game. They take on the Tigers in a battle back and forth. And coming on with us now, Andy Bitter at Andy Bitter VT. He joins us from the Roanoke Times to talk about the Virginia Tech Hokies. Andy, welcome in, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good to have you on. And, you know, I look back to last season's matchup between Virginia Tech and Clemson in the ACC Championship game, and I can't help but think that, you know, how different this season might be in terms of the projections over in the Coastal Division if Gerard Evans had returned to Blacksburg. How big of a shock, one, was that for Hokie Nation, and two, what's been the reaction since?
I think it was a pretty big surprise. There's probably one person who thought it was a good idea for Gerard to go pro, and that was Gerard. I've heard all sorts of theories of why he did it, and stuff that's out there. Oh, he didn't want to get hurt. Oh, his grades are bad. I don't think any of that's true. I just think he truly thought he was ready for the NFL. He's just sort of a player that whenever he was on the field, he thought he was the best player on the field. That gets you very far in the game, but it also can kind of get you in the situation where he is now, where he went undrafted, got hurt in a training camp, so who knows exactly if he'll be able to latch on with the team. But I think it took them by surprise. That's why they went out and got a junior college quarterback. They got a freshman to come in here early in Hendon Hooker, enrolling in the winter. But, Josh Jackson, just today, they announced him as the starting quarterback in the season opener. And he's the scholarship guy who was here last year. He's a redshirt freshman this year, so he's not that old. So, I think from Virginia Tech's perspective, they've certainly turned the page, and they're looking forward to who their new quarterback is now.
Well, and talk about Joshua Jackson and what Jackson will bring to the table for Virginia Tech in terms of his athleticism at the quarterback spot.
I think of the three guys that were vying for that job, he's probably the least quote-unquote athletic. I think he can still move, but he's not a guy that's A.J. Bush, the junior college transfer, is a 6'2", 225 guy. Really, well-built,
Sure.
good runner, real athletic like that. Hendon Hooker was 6'4", over 200 now that he's added some pounds. He looks like he could be a pretty good runner. Jackson's 6'1", 215, a little stockier, I think. Maybe not quite as dynamic of a runner, but I think what he really brings to the position is a consistency. He hasn't had a chance to do it in games yet, but in practices, I think that's what the coaches really liked about him was he was the most consistent performer in terms of running the plays they wanted them to be run. Maybe not a home run type guy as a runner or anything like that, but he moves well enough and he runs the offense well enough that they think that he gives them the best shot.
On Twitter, he's at Andy Bitter, BITTERVT. I want to ask you about Cam Phillips, the outstanding wide receiver for the Hokies. He'll be kind of shouldering a heavy load given the losses they've had at the wide receiver spot in the past year. But nonetheless, this guy just seems like a dynamic playmaker. And I got the vibe from talking to him that he is a kid who's got his head on his shoulders and heading in the right direction.
Yeah, he is. He's always sort of been Robin to Isaiah Ford's Batman. Those are two receivers that came here and at the same time. They started as true freshmen together. 3 years together, and then Isaiah, who's the Virginia Tech all-time leader in receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns, goes pro after last year. So he's always sort of been the sidekick to Isaiah, maybe not quite as much headline grabbing as Isaiah got, but Cam is the fifth all-time leading receiver in Virginia Tech history. With a good season, will pass Isaiah for number one on that list. He nearly got to 1,000 yards last year. I think that really got overlooked. Isaiah Ford, Bucky Hodges really were the star guys on the offense, the guys that you look to put the ball in the end zone. But I think Cam really came on strong at the end of last year. Certainly, he was the Belk Bowl MVP, had over 100 yards in that game, so he finished strong. I think he's been waiting for this moment to sort of be the guy. He's embraced that, and like you said, he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. I think he's a pretty straight and narrow guy, a focused guy, and he's eager for this his senior season.
Andy, when you look at the dynamics that this coaching staff went through, losing a guy like Frank Beamer, the longevity of his career, unparalleled in terms of what we're probably going to see in college football down the road. But you bring in Justin Fuente. He manages, of course, to keep. I'm assuming the majority of the defensive staff. I'm not sure how everything worked out, but ultimately, what is that relationship like right now between Fuente and I don't know why, but Bud Foster. Bud Foster's name was eluding me, but I mean, what's their relationship like right now?
I think it's pretty good. I think they hit it off from the beginning, and
because it's unique, right? I mean, it's unique because
yeah.
Foster's given his career to this university, and a lot of people thought that he would be the next man up.
And Bud made no mistake that he wanted that job. I mean, he came out and said that when the job was going to be open, when Frank announced his retirement in the middle of the season, his pending retirement at the end of the season. I think it hurt a little bit for Bud not to get that job. That's been something he'd coveted for a long time. But I think, they arranged this meeting, sort of a secret meeting of Bud to go meet Justin Fuente in Memphis before they actually hired him. The whole plan was to try to keep Bud in the fold, and the way it was described is they hit it off right away. And I think the way that Bud described it is that Fuente reminds him of a younger Frank Beamer, just sort of the personality traits. He's not an overbearing head coach. He's not a meddler in terms of, he wants to do a defense run this way. He lets coordinators go about their business. That was sort of Frank's M.O., is he wasn't a very hands-on guy. He let his coaches coach. He just sort of has, I would say Justin has a personality that's not sort of a flamboyant or anything like that. He really fits into Southwest Virginia. And I think that's what Bud appreciates about that. And now it helps that you win 10 games in your first year. I think everything smooths over when you're winning like that. But, just judging from the way they interact, I think there is a genuine respect there. They've hit it off pretty immediately.
Let me ask you one final question here about this Virginia Tech team and specifically with their matchup against Clemson. In your opinion, Andy, how much has this game changed given Gerard Evans not being there? I mean, I know we're still a ways out, but is that a significant loss for Virginia Tech to the point of where perhaps if people saw that as a game Virginia Tech was going to win, is his loss so much so that people would go, well, that Clemson game, that's going to be a lot tougher than we expected?
Well, it'll no doubt be tougher. I mean, I think Gerard, given the level of quarterback play in the ACC last year, was among some of the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He didn't get any sort of all ACC recognition. I think he could have made an argument for third team. I know Trubisky was in there. So you're talking about a really fantastic quarterback last year who's had all sorts of school records. So losing him and going to a redshirt freshman, I think obviously you're going to take a step back offensively, and then certainly not having those other weapons around. I think that might have been part of the reason that Gerard factored into his decision going to the NFL. But you're still talking about a team that has a defense that I think could be in the top 10 nationally. I mean, they got a lot of guys coming back. They've got Bud Foster coaching them. That's been a formula for success for a long time at Virginia Tech, is to have that really strong defense and then get whatever you can on offense. Now, I think Fuente is more than capable as an offensive coach, and maybe can get a little more production out of guys that maybe aren't quite there yet.
Yeah.
So I think there are low expectations for an offense. But, Virginia Tech's won with defense and whatever can get on offense before. I think.
Hey, Andy, I hate to cut you off, man. I hate to cut you off, buddy. We have a hard time break coming up. Appreciate the insight. Andy Bitter VT on Twitter. Follow him over there. Stay with us.
iHeartRadio wants nothing more than to bring you closer to your favorite artists.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
So we've updated the iHeartRadio app. No, it's an upgrade. All your favorite music and stations, easier to find. Getting you closer to the music you love with just a tap.
This is Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless, and this is iHeartRadio.
All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. Download and open the new iHeartRadio app today.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Do you want a pharmacy that treats you like a person and not just a number? Then let Craig and Lori at Southlake Drug show you what a pharmacy should be. Fast, friendly, and professional. Southlake Drug can transfer your prescriptions and take the hassle out of getting your medicine and getting you on your way. Southlake Drug takes all major insurance programs, including Medicare, Medicaid, and state employees, and they provide immunization services, including flu shots with no wait and no appointment. Southlake Drug, 1856 Southlake Drive in the Food Line Shopping Center, 399-7701, or southlakedrug.com.
Have you been thinking about sprucing up your yard, debating between pine straw or mulch? Call my friends at Carolina Turfgrass to get your yard looking as great as mine right now. I chose to go with pine straw this year, and it looks incredible. Carolina Turfgrass is conveniently located at 5400 Augusta Road in Lexington, and if you need your order delivered, they can take care of that too. In addition, Carolina Turfgrass carries a wide variety of turfs, including Centipede and Bermuda. For unmatched quality and service, call Carolina Turfgrass, 446-6525. Look for Carolina Turfgrass on Highway 1 in Lexington.
The thunderstorms out there this evening will die off overnight. The temperatures will drop to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny and plenty hot, highs mid-90s, but with the humidity, it'll feel north of 100 degrees. For Channel 25, ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
This report is brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Kane is in the building.
All right, Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, the artist formerly known as Lowell the Intern, getting hype. He's over here, he just wants to tell me what's been going on the TV show Ballers. I'm like, would you just be quiet? You're like the people at work that want to tell me everything about what's going on with the Game of Thrones.
I gave you zero spoilers. I did not tell you anything you did not already know.
Well, that is true. You didn't do that because I watched the previews of the entire show. Zach Lentz at Zach Lentz CST joins us, senior writer for ClemsonSportsTalk.com. By the way, the new website coming out soon. That's what I'll tell you. Premium content, all the good stuff. Oh yeah, changing the online sports world for Clemson Tiger Nation. Zach, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. What are y'all talking about? Game of Thrones, Ballers? I mean, I've not seen either one of those shows.
Oh God, you're such a hermit crab. That's what my wife would call you, a hermit crab. Not a hermit, a hermit crab.
A hermit crab. I love it. I love it. No, some of us are a little bit more inundated with this football team that Clemson has running around up in Tiger Town.
Well, listen, Zach, today we talked to folks from Virginia Tech and Syracuse, a couple of road games for the Clemson Tigers, and I got the vibe from Andy Bitter, who covers Virginia Tech, that the Hokies are not nearly as much of a threat as I had assumed looking at that Clemson schedule this year.
Oh, yeah. If anybody has read anything that we put up on the website, they would know that the Hokies, while I do think it's going to be a tough game and a tough environment for the Tigers to go into Lane Stadium, probably going to be a night game up there in Blacksburg. I don't see Virginia Tech really posing much of a threat from a skill position, from a positional standpoint, because of what they lost. Evans, their quarterback, Bucky Rogers, is gone. Their dynamic tight end. Yeah. They lost a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball that Justin Fuente is going to have to find answers for. And on the defensive side of the ball, they weren't very good last year, so I don't know, the lunch pail defense and Bud Foster, while they have a reputation for being a dynamic defense, last year didn't prove that out, and I don't see them being much better this season.
Zach, this past weekend, the Clemson Tigers, of course, held their first scrimmage on Saturday, and I know you went up to Tiger Town and got lots of great audio for the people over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. But just in terms of the vibe coming off of the field, I know the defense seemed ahead by all accounts, but not a surprise to anybody. Is there a point this year, though, where you would say to somebody, you know what, I think this offense is going to have maybe a breakout scrimmage, or is this just going to be the story of the offseason, the defense leading the way? They're just too good defensively.
Well, I think you're going to see the defense be ahead of the offense throughout the preseason for a couple of reasons, okay? You've got some youngsters on offense that are still trying to find their way. And while they're very talented, they are still installing this offense and kind of being very vanilla with what they're doing offensively. And the defense, look, they returned 7 starters off last year's defense, so they're a little bit more veteran. The roles have flipped over the last couple of seasons where you kind of saw the offense ahead of the defense at this point in the season. This year the roles have flipped, and you've got a defense that's ahead of the offense, as well they should be. Okay, but here's the other thing. As Tony Elliott said Saturday, he said that, look, don't get so worried about the offense's production. He said there were some miscues and some things that they could have done better, but also it's not like they're having a week to game plan, and they're game planning specifically for this defense. What they're concerned with is making sure that the offense looks right, that they're making the right decisions for quarterbacks, that they're blocking the right people on the line, that the running backs are filling the right holes and picking up the pass protection correctly, that receivers are running the right routes. They're not so much concerned with who won the scrimmage per se, because they know that when they get a chance to game plan for a defense and they understand the defense's tendencies, they'll be a lot better than what they showed. But if I'm a Tiger fan, I want the defense to be ahead at this point, and I really wouldn't mind them being ahead all the way up till game 1.
Speaking of game 1, of course, Kent State on the docket, but the second game against Auburn, it was announced today, Auburn's starting quarterback, no surprise to us here at Clemson Sports Talk, but Jarrett Stidham, the Baylor transfer, is going to be their number 1. Your thoughts on what Stidham might bring to Gus Malzahn's offense?
Well, he's kind of the anti-Malzahn offense. Generally when you think about Gus Malzahn offensively, you're thinking about a dual-threat quarterback. You're thinking about a Cam Newton type, even go to a Deshaun Watson, a Taj Boyd. I mean, those are guys that Gus Malzahn would have loved to have in his system because they're dual-threat quarterbacks. Jarrett Stidham is not going to give him that. Okay, he's the pocket passer, the Baylor, offense, fun and gun it down the field, that kind of stuff. He is athletic. Okay, he is able to run the ball.
Yeah.
But I would say he's not the dynamic running threat that you would like to have if you're Gus Malzahn. Now, he's the more seasoned quarterback. He's the quarterback that obviously he trusts the most. But to me, this eliminates a little bit of some of the concern going into this game of the read option, that kind of stuff. It's going to be very similar, I think, to what Clemson fans would see if Hunter Johnson were to take over at some point in the season, where there's still going to be elements of the offense that are the same. However, it's going to be more downfield passing, more relying on the passing game, and then just power running from the running backs.
Zach Lentz again here on Clemson Sports Talk on Fridays and, of course, on Mondays, as he is with us here this evening. One final question, Zach. We got about a minute. The vibe for anybody that didn't get a chance to read anything that's out there that you put out on Clemson Sports Talk in terms of, or maybe even social media too, the running back situation in the scrimmage on Saturday. How did those things play out?
The running backs, honestly, I was speaking with a couple parents and stuff, and the running backs weren't able to do anything because of the front four on defense. Basically, Tavian Feaster, C.J. Fuller, Adam Choice, they weren't able to do a whole lot. One name that I will tell you very quickly that is picking up a lot of steam from the coaching staff as well as players we're talking to is Travis Etienne, the true freshman out of Louisiana. He is very smooth, very, very quick to pick up the offense. The biggest thing for him is going to be pass protection, and can he pick up the blocking scheme?
There you go. Zach Lentz on Twitter. He's at Zach Lentz CST. Zach, man, y'all have a good evening. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Absolutely. Y'all too. We'll talk to you later.
There he is. Hey, Zach Lentz here on the show that shakes the Southland. When we come back, there is another former Clemson Tiger wide receiver in the NFL. Wide receiver, you just placing guys left and right. This one I think is going to be a very interesting name when we tell you who it is. Plus, we update you on Brad Brownell and the boys. They're overseas playing in Spain right now. Did they advance to 2-0? Did they fall back to 1-1? We'll give you the skinny on that as well when we get back.
Pit Stop Convenience Stores and Coca-Cola are partnering to give you free Eclipse watching glasses, and they're available right now at every pit stop. Just buy any Coca-Cola product, get a pair of Eclipse glasses free. Limit one per customer while supplies last. Don't stop till you're at Pit Stop.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
ColumbiaHelpWanted.com salutes the Employee of the Month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Dave, why have you been shredding for hours?
The boss said we should cut costs, Mr. Employee of the Month.
How does this cut costs?
These are the expense reports for the whole year.
You shredded them all?
Thanks to me, our expenses this year are 0.
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. We make it easy to post a job, and it's local, so you won't get spammed by faraway job seekers. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com salutes the Employee of the Month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Dave, are you stealing from the vending machine?
No, Mr. Employee of the Month.
Well, your desk is littered with like hundreds of snacks.
I merely exposed a loophole by reaching my arm through the flap thingy. Does that sound like stealing to you?
Yes.
Granola bar?
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. We make it easy to post a job, and it's local, so you won't get spammed by faraway job seekers. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan. With quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules.
You're listening to Clemson Sports Talk with my dad, Lawton Swan, on Fox Sports Radio 1400 and on the iHeart Radio app.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan. My man, M.W. Reese, with a retweetable offense, says, I always enjoy listening to Clemson Sports Talk on my patio while I'm grilling out. Got the Roku going with the iHeart radio. Oh, listen, that's fantastic right there from M.W. Reese, if you're watching the show on YouTube as well. But, yeah, listen, I forget to tell people that you can listen on iHeart radio on your TV. All these smart televisions, so easy. All right, we put out a poll question earlier today. Lowell, we still didn't get a definitive answer from you. Would you rather be the best player at South Carolina or the worst player at Clemson? You abstained from answering. Do you remember what I predicted the results would be?
Well, I knew what the results would be. I told you there was an inherent bias in this question. You already knew what the results would be.
85% of the people would rather be the worst player at Clemson.
Wow, only 85?
Yeah, 15% are falling into your category of you'd like to be the best at South Carolina.
I didn't say that. I did not give an answer. There's so many things you have to consider in this question. It's not an either or answer.
Okay.
If I'm the best player at South Carolina,
yeah.
Does that mean I've elevated South Carolina to new heights and we're actually winning games, or am I the best player on a team that's going to go 3-9? If the worst player at Clemson, that doesn't necessarily mean Clemson's going to go win the national championship.
If both teams were 6-6, which would you rather be?
Well, if both teams are 6-6, I want to be the best player on that 6-6 team, because I want to set myself up for the future and have a NFL career and make that money.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, listen, yeah. Okay.
Money. Dollar.
Talking about money, and dollar. There's a former Clemson Tiger that's making some money, and dollars. At least he's got a chance to make a little money, and dollars. It's funny because the last time I saw this guy, Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans had come to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. What was that? A little under a week ago. And Jamon Hopper makes a post. And he's like dancing in the car. I always get concerned because I don't know if these things are filming backwards, if they're driving or it's the passenger. I can't really tell that. Hop's driving in the car. And in the back seat, Deshaun Watson's doing this thing, and I'm like, oh, look at there. Reunited, and it feels so good. Deshaun Watson, I would argue, threw his most beautiful touchdown pass outside of the national championship game winner to Hunter Renfrow to Hopper when he dropped that biscuit in. Lowell, the intern, chest bumps it. He loves it. He's all over it. Watson on the ground. You couldn't drop a ball in better. You couldn't have dropped it from the blimp better. Incredible way that ball turned over and just felt. Talk about putting the biscuit in the basket. Beautiful. So Hopper's in the car with Watson. Well, today, he might be hopping in the car with Watson to leave practice because Jamon Hopper has signed a multi-year deal with the Houston Texans. So what's that bring the Texans to now? Like 6 Clemson guys there, I think, Lowell, something like that. They got Watson. They got Reeder. They got Watkins. They got Hopkins. They got Hopper.
They got Gilchrist.
So what's that, 6? Did I really just say that? Let me just make sure I got this right. They've got, this is almost like one of those things where you just change part of the word and you get a different word. They've got Watson, Watkins, Hopkins, Hopper. Who's next? Who am I missing? Reeder and Gilchrist. So you can go from Watson to Hopper just by changing a part of each person's name.
Do you remember when you made the Clemson North Buffalo Bills picture?
I did.
And Buffalo had 2 Clemson players on the team?
Yeah. I need to make the Texans logo. Is it time for that?
I think it's time. This is significantly more than 2 players.
Clemson Southwest. Is that what we're calling them? The Clemson North thing went pretty viral for a while there. That tweet got that one moved the meter pretty quickly. Clemson Tiger men's basketball now 2-0 in their trip overseas. They beat FG La Rota 86-63. The Clemson Tigers were led in scoring by Gabe DeVoe, who had 19 points. Dante Grantham scored 12, 15 points from A.J. Oliver, who was 3 of 4 from downtown. Marquise Reed with a tough time overseas right now. Just 5 points, 2 of 11 shooting, 0 for 7 from downtown for Reed. Eli Thomas give you a double-double at 10 and 10. So did Dante Grantham, who also poured in 12 rebounds as well for the Clemson Tigers. So there you go. Clemson now 2-0 on their road trip over to Spain. Let's see. Lowell, do we have a caller? Is that what I'm seeing or no? No caller?
Just a question.
Was it a legit question?
It was just about Hopper and what he had been up to since he left Clemson.
I really don't know.
I don't either.
He had to be working out.
I don't think he's played since 2015.
Well, he was supposed to transfer to another school. Did he transfer to Charlotte or not? I thought that's where he was going.
Weren't there rumors that he was trying to get back on the team at Clemson?
Well, and then that kind of presented itself like for like a week. I really don't know. You know what we didn't get to get into, speaking of wide receivers, the situation at Florida. We'll have to talk about this tomorrow. 7 players suspended, including Antonio Callaway, their star wideout, who has been in a I don't want to say ton, has had several mishaps during his time at Florida. And honestly, the way McElwain's beginning to recruit, a guy like Antonio Callaway in the near future will be an expendable player. He won't be somebody that you have to keep around. But 7 Florida players were suspended for their matchup against Michigan for reselling items that were purchased in the bookstore for cash. So money that was supposed to go from the athletic department for books or whatever they need, these guys end up buying the books and then reselling them to make money. So there's that story out of Gainesville, Florida. We'll have to talk about that more tomorrow. For the artist formerly known as Lowell the Intern, I am Lawton Swan. Special thanks to all our guests. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock. As always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
At Columbia Metropolitan Airport, easy is getting wherever you need to be with the convenience of leaving right from your hometown. So next time you need to get to Chicago or anywhere else in the world, check us first and fly with ease at CAE.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40, 1 more if you're not physically active, another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes, another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger, 2 if you're very overweight, and 3 if you're